What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with a lot of news items to hit on following rookie minicamp. There's actually so much news buzz out there, I figured we would push off winners and losers from rookie minicamp to tomorrow and catch you guys up to speed on everything that came out of Denver's rookie minicamp. So let's start with some very good news, and that is a Javonte Williams injury update. Have not gotten one in quite some time, but Sean Payton did offer some good news on the Broncos running back. Now, of course, we all know he is coming off a torn ACL along with several other ligament injuries that he suffered in the Week 4 loss against the Raiders last season. In fact, Payton is so optimistic about his recovery, he thinks he has a good chance and expects him to be back by the time training camp opens up in late July. Now, here's what Sean Payton said exactly to the reporters at minicamp. I would tell you that we expect him to be ready for the start of training camp, and that's good news. His rehab is going well. I don't want to speak for him or Beau or anyone else, but we get the daily reports. And look, we're pretty tight-lipped relative to information going out, but I've read a lot, and I think his rehab's going well. I think there's a good chance if a player's not ready at the start of training camp, he goes to PUP. We're hopeful that he's someone that might not have to go to PUP. That's the good news on Javonte Williams potentially returning by July. Now, like probably all of you watching right now, I am shocked, and I am very happy in a good way here because I would love nothing more than to be 120% wrong on when I thought Javonte Williams would return. Like a lot of people watching and like a lot of people that follow and cover this team, I fully expected a return to be maybe mid-season at best, right? He suffered all those injuries in Week 4. I was never really able to find when he got his ACL surgery done because that's a bit of a myth amongst fans of, oh, if he tore his ACL, say in Week 1, should be good next year, Week 1. Well, sometimes the swelling's really bad and they can't get the surgery done for a few weeks afterwards. So that's really when the clock starts for when his return is after the surgery. So I couldn't nail down a date when Javonte Williams got his ACL surgery done, among other surgeries, I am sure. But if it didn't happen until Week 5 or Week 6 of the NFL calendar year last year, well, if 12 months is somewhat par for the course for an ACL and LCL and other ligament injuries he had done, then it could have been, Week 8, Week 9, Week 10, and who knows after that point. So I'm still going to be a bit cautious. I'm not going to take this quote from Sean Payton in May and say it's a done deal. He'll be ready to go the moment training camp opens up. Sean Payton did bring up the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list. So I have a feeling that he still might start on the PUP list, but a lot of guys start on the PUP list and they could be taken off after a couple of days if needed, but they got to have some sort of designation to open up camp. So at worst, it sounds like Week 1 is very likely, right? If they're talking about him returning in July or early August, and that's borderline, well, I got to be optimistic that September should be, full steam ahead. Now, maybe it's not full steam ahead in terms of a true RB1 workload. I know J.K. Dobbins, who we'll talk about later on, he came back from a similar-ish injury, an ACL and LCL tear, and he was not ready to go his first few games back. But let me know. Do you think Javonte Williams will return at the start of camp? I don't think so still. It's a major injury he's coming off of that he suffered mid-season last year. So for that reason, I don't think he's going to be off the PUP list and ready to go first day of training camp. But I'd love to be proven wrong, and I would love to see Javonte Williams be 100% by the time the season rolls around. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. Now, like I just mentioned, J.K. Dobbins is a running back that you can compare Javonte Williams' injury to a little bit. They're never apples to apples. Everyone's knees are different, but he suffered a torn ACL, LCL, hamstring, and meniscus in the third preseason game for the Ravens back in 2021. Now, he was not ready to go week 1 of the next season. He actually missed the first 2 weeks of the 2022 season. So about a 13-month recovery for another player that suffered a torn ACL and LCL. So if it's 13 months for Javonte Williams, that sets him up for a November return this year. So for him to be even eyeing July is light years ahead of what another running back who suffered a similar injury went through. Now, of course, there are the J.K. Dobbins of the world who don't come back, miraculously quick. But you also have examples like Adrian Peterson. Remember when he tore his ACL and he came back 8 months later only to rush for over 2,000 yards and win the MVP title in 2012. So it's happened, both ways before. AP is Adrian Peterson for a reason, right? I don't expect everyone to have the legs that he had. He had tree trunks of legs, but it has been done before. Again, AP did not suffer all the injuries that Javonte Williams suffered, but you can't rule out an ACL return within 8 or 9 months because it has been done before. Now, we do go live here on the channel as we take a quick break before getting back to some other news items every Tuesday or every other Tuesday or so. But we also have to share the studio space with our Ravens channel. So here's the deal that our boss gave me and Tyler Jones, the host of the Ravens Rundown channel. Whichever channel can get to 50 subscribers first, right? Pick up 50 new subs. They get to go live on Tuesday at 3 o'clock Mountain Time, 4 o'clock Central. So if you want me to go live tomorrow, this upcoming Tuesday, and go through Broncos training camp, rookie minicamp winners and losers, hit that sub button down below. Winner gets to go live on Tuesday. So help me out by subscribing if you have not already. Some other news items I want to talk about. Adam Schefter tweeting out yesterday, Broncos are signing former XFL standout QB Ben Dinucci after his performance at the team's minicamp. I did a short on this. You can go check it out. But the Nooch is back in the NFL. He joins Denver's quarterback room that has maybe an open roster spot. I'm not sure if Sean Payton wants to roll with 2 or 3 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster, but Russell Wilson and Jarrett Stidham are essentially roster locks. So then you've got a bit of a battle for the QB3 spot, which is likely going to be that practice squad quarterback position between Jared Garantano, who, if you remember, Denver picked up mid-ish late season last year from Arizona. He was a UDFA, originally went to Tennessee, then Washington State. Cardinals brought him in. Cardinals released him later on. He goes over to Denver. He actually had an opportunity to go sign elsewhere, but he turned it down to stick with the Broncos. So something tells me he's not going to get cut unless the team just kind of forgot about him. But the Nooch and JG are going to be battling for that QB3 spot all training camp and preseason long. So those are going to be the quarterbacks you see in a lot of the preseason games. Sean Payton did have a very funny quote that went kind of viral. I thought you guys should see if you have not already. After Ben Dinucci threw a pick 6 to Drew Sanders, he told him, I told Ben, I said, Greg Penner owns Walmart. If it doesn't work out here, I'm sure there's a greeting opportunity somewhere at one of his local stores. Dinucci clearly got over that pick 6, and he impressed well enough to get a 90-man roster spot, at least for the time being. Now, he comes off a very successful season with the XFL Seattle Sea Dragons. He led the XFL in a ton of statistical categories. I think it was completion percentage, yards, touchdowns. He kicked ass up there in the Pacific Northwest. Now, the former James Madison Duke did have an opportunity. He even had a start with the Dallas Cowboys back in 2020. 3 games in his career, 53.5 completion percentage, 219 yards. There's not a whole lot of actual real NFL tape on there outside of preseason and training camp games he had with the Cowboys last year and the season prior. But the Nooch is back in the NFL, and when you got a name like that, I'm going to get behind it. What I also can get behind are these great t-shirt combo deals going on at Fanatics. They've got an awesome one for Broncos country. You can get a short sleeve and a long sleeve t-shirt on sale. So you get not just one shirt, but 2 shirts on sale as well. Pretty good deal if you ask me. But you got to use our link, chatsports.com/DEN combo. If you're going to a Rockies game and you're like, it might still be a bit chilly for a night game, which, I mean, if you're going to a Rockies game, shout out to you. You're one of 20 people there. And F. Bryce Harper, by the way. No one could talk mean about the Rockies unless you're a Rockies fan. So go to chatsports.com/DEN combo. That link's in the comments and the description of today's show. We've got another signing coming out of rookie minicamp. Mike Klis tweeting out, per source, Broncos have agreement with former 49ers and XFL running back Jaquez Patrick, a huge back, 6'3", 234 pounds, with tailback and fullback versatility pending physical tomorrow, which would be today. Patrick, number 2 in the XFL this season with 443 yards off 115 carries. How does a 443-yard player finish second in the XFL? Like, that is just scary. But Patrick and Dinucci to sign off of tryouts. Now, I'm not shocked that Denver found a running back because outside of the, big question looming around Javonte Williams, they don't have a clear-cut RB1, RB2, right? You added Samaje Perine. He's going to be a good running back for this team. But then there's a lot of, never heard of him before on this roster, right? Tony Jones, Tyreek McAllister, Demaria Crockett, some UDFAs, and Patrick joins that group now. So it is open season for that RB3 position. I'm sure Tony Jones is the leader in the clubhouse, but we're talking about a guy named Tony Jones Jr. I'm sure not a lot of us have heard of him before, so it is definitely up for grabs after Williams and Perine. Another piece of news in what's been a news-filled Monday in the NFL offseason, we've got a new name for the Broncos training facility, Centura Health. So Centura Training Center takes over after the UCHealth Center. The team announced that it was going to be moving on from UCHealth Center earlier this offseason after 8 years with the company. Centura Health signed a 10-year naming rights contract with the team, which means if the Penners decide to build a new facility elsewhere, because they have been rumored to be looking into maybe moving their training camp or moving their training facility, it would still be Centura Health. They're also the new team health provider as well. I don't have much of a take on that because they're not my health provider, but I'm sure they're a good one if they're working for an NFL franchise. Listen, I've read a lot about this, and this has been recognized as a very good and significant business partnership for the team because when you think about it, they're a team that's gone 44-70 in the last 7 seasons. So, yes, they are still a huge franchise in the NFL world, but to be 44-70 in the last 7 years and find a company out there that wants to throw considerable amount of money at you to have a 10-year contract, that's got to feel like a big win for a team that has not put a good product out there, but yet they are still making a lot of money because they are the Denver Broncos. Now, speaking of the Denver Broncos, here at Chat Sports, I am one of the biggest office win total over-under guys. So I want to know what you guys think about the Vegas line for Denver in 2023. 8.5 wins. I think this is a 9-8 team, but 8.5 feels like they're right on the money because it easily could be 8-9 if they won't go into Week 18 with an 8-8 record. So I'm going to go with over for now. Let me know what your over or under prediction is for 8.5 wins for Denver in 2023.